Hey, I think we're live. Yes, we are.
We are live.
What's a stream without some technical difficulties?
Yeah, exactly. Got to open the season with some technical difficulties.
So, how is the starship? It's like up there in the space station.
Exactly. Now I missed a freeze tonight. At least I'm not freezing yet. We'll see, but I at least have caused some delays. Looks like we've already got some folks in the chat. The Very Silent Mouse and Lord Draconum. Thank you for joining us in Season 5, Episode 1. Better late than never. Let's just say.
Yeah.
It's been over 5 months since our last show, right, Rusty?
I'm gonna say when the
last time I checked, they showed the last time we streamed the Musty Wargamers. It said something like 5 months ago.
Yeah, it's been. Yeah, it was June, wasn't it?
May.
It was May.
Yeah.
So that would have been 6 months.
Yeah. Now, so yeah, I figured it was pushing that, and
yeah,
so
it's like, wow. 6 months without a show. It's like what's going on? What kind of sorcery is this?
So yeah.
So that's the longest we went without having something going on. Heck, we even, occasionally we would do a summer show or just a quick drop in and say hi, but
yeah,
like it's been a very busy summer for us.
Yes, absolutely. And, we could talk about that kind of in the first topic for sure. I'm just looking just from a technical perspective. Like my internet has just been a little wonky tonight, but I think it should be okay. You guys will have to let me know if anything's going on, but it seems to be working.
So you're streaming from your iPad.
Well, yeah, like I'm shooting Wi-Fi from my iPad from my router in order to do this, and it seems to be the best way right now. Like my actual router to this PC is not working well, and so I have to kind of find time to actually get my internet company out here, apparently.
Figure this one out.
Yeah, exactly. But it is weird. I've got even on the YouTube page that follows this. Oh, now it's connected and it's showing everybody. For a moment there, it wasn't showing the comments that were up, but now I can see the comments on the side. So, yeah. So, I suppose I almost feel a little out of sorts, after coming so long and not doing the show. We, I think, have a fair decent number of topics to cover tonight.
Oh, we got what? 1, 2, 3.
There. Seems to be working. And this still works, right? Let's see. Yes.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's been so long. It's like, how does this stuff work again? Hey, Clark, come in.
Yeah, so we can still. I know there's been some changes on StreamYard, some additional things you can do, but I think most of it are things you pay for.
That's the way it always is. Like, you can. We'll give you the basics. You can have the low budget model, or you can spend some money and get that sports car upgrade.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like you want the padded seats with basically a metal bench, or do you want a nice leather upholstery that's nice and cushiony for your long drive?
I think Clark has asked a very good question, is have we replaced the B word for season 5?
Babylon 5? Oh, yeah, sure.
I have a feeling that's not going away for a long time. There you go. Yeah, so thanks for joining us, everyone. And Clark, that's just joined. That's awesome. We will kind of try to shake the rust off. Sort of basically get back into the swing of things for the next season.
Oh, pop-ups, go away. Please stop.
So, Rusty, I don't know. Do you want to start in... My update's not going to be that exciting tonight, but do you want to start? Do you want to talk a little bit about? Have to throw this up there. Do you want to talk about
the infamous Kickstarter Wolf Dragoons for that B game? We haven't started yet, so it's not officially yet in the season that we have to start doing that. Well, let's just say it's been a long summer for me. If anybody been on my channel, notice that there's been a while that it's like you didn't see anything from me other than like battle reports, like no updates, because I really didn't have time to do any hobby stuff myself. And it's like typically, you take a sabbatical from the hobby per se during the summer to just to refresh yourself and then move on. For me, it was forced imposed kind of deal where in June we had new windows put in our house. So they ripped out every single window in our house right down to the studs and then put new ones in. Hey, we got new Pella windows. And hey, I don't feel a draft now in the house, which is kind of nice when it gets 20, 30 below, it's kind of comfortable. So we'll find out. But so far it's been good. So that happened. And obviously when you tear the windows out, it's like we had them resized some. So I had to go through and put sheetrock around the windows myself and then mud everything and repaint. So that was the month of June. So I was like, what I do for painting, doing hobby stuff is like, no, that is going to be doing other painting stuff and hobby stuff, which is the house. So I didn't get anything done with that. And then we turned around and rotated in. It's like, then we got siding. Had siding put on the house. So that was like a week event where they did that. And then it was not done to my wife's specifications, and we were not happy. So it was constantly on the phone getting hold of, it's like, you need to get your beep out here and finish the job, because we had a crew come in and they worked on it and then they just left. And it's like they hired they were so busy, the parent company was so busy, they hired out and did the company group they hired to do the job subcontracted it out. It was like, and I called and was like, hello, the job's not done. Well, they said it's done. No, not done. And then when the supervisor comes out and they look like, we're so sorry. It's like, yeah, I'm kidding. It's like, you think I kind of look perturbed? You don't want to talk to my wife. It's like, yeah. It's like she was ready with the rope. And so they got that all taken care of. And also during the same time, after they got the house done on the outside, I was working on because we had all the storm damage from last year during the derecho. The trees crushed, my sheds I had.
Yes. So
I had to go through and do all that. And I rebuilt my new shed, put new foundation in, with blocks, cement blocks, the typical cinder block type. Built the floor and then everything and foundation, and put a new floor in, built the shed up around it. So that was right up to the fair. And I was like, the day before the fair, I was out there with putting down seed and, getting everything squared away. Yep.
Busy summer.
Yeah. And that it's like, normally I'm doing hobby stuff. And I was like, no, I didn't have time for any hobby stuff.
Well, you said that you didn't put up a lot of videos, but I know for a fact that you put up more videos than me.
Well, like I said, it was a lot of battle reports. It's it's like, I'm taking a day. It's like the guys say, you want to do something on Saturday, Sunday, or Monday, depending which group it was. It's like, yes, I'll take a day off from my busy schedule and play some games just to get out and do something. And that was a nice thing. So at least I was doing something in the hobby, but I just wasn't doing something in the hobby.
Oh, and absolutely. I mean, there are times when, I mean, really, when you think about it, if I can go for a year or more without a game because of COVID, but paint, I still consider myself hobbying.
Yeah.
So if you stop painting, but you're gaming, you know, then you're still hobbying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're still in the hobby. You might not be hobbying in the sense we usually refer to the word, but you're doing the hobby. I mean, you're just doing the gaming part, right? And
Yeah.
you know, sometimes that happens where people are just don't have units to paint at that time, and they're playing a particular game, and yeah. So, but it's not usual for you because you're kind of like me. You're a painter. Like you're somebody that paints a lot. You know, like
Yeah, that's my preferred thing is to paint. I like painting because that's relaxing to me.
I used to refer to myself as that.
Yeah,
Somebody that paints a lot.
not anymore. It's like I've been having a hard time getting back into the flow again. It's like you take a couple months off or 3 months off from painting, and you're like, how do I get going? And it's like,
Yeah,
which will be a subject for later.
yeah, that's right.
So,
Go ahead.
So it's like a lot of it is that then when the Kickstarter came in, and you know, from the Battletech Kickstarter come in, and so I got a bunch of
What?
That word, yes.
I don't even have our drinks out yet.
I know. So, like I said, we don't have our drinks out yet, so it doesn't count yet. So we're just in the intro phase. I haven't even talked about what I have for the drink tonight. So,
that's right.
And I do have a large selection sitting upstairs. As you've seen, I did a restock back in October.
Yeah, I did see that.
So it was like my wife was not happy about my restock, but she was like, "It's bad enough you have so many hobbies, but that's one of them." I was like, "But it makes me happy." My son took partake of it too. He was with me when I went in our local grocery store has once a year they have the big sale, a liquor sale, and we're talking like a bottle of scotch normally say is $50 would cost you $25-$30.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, how can you not buy something?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're saving 40 to 50% off what you normally would pay. And it's like, and my son was like, they got the sale starting on today. It's like, what? It's normally Saturday. No, they starting it today because he works for the same grocery chain himself. He's the head of the bakery department.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, it's like, do you want to go? And it's like, yeah. This is Friday. So we went over there, both of us, and I'm like, he's like, you want a grocery cart? And it's, yes. we never know what we're gonna find. So we're going, it's like, well, they got stuff over here. So we're going down the aisles, and it's like, Dalmore. Well, that $30 for a bottle of Dalmore? Yes. Put that on there. 2 of them. Yes. So we were buying 2s and 3s and of each scotch. So he bought some, I bought some. So yeah.
So did you have anything which had no shame involved given the discussion, but did you have anything that you wanted to show or talk about that you're doing hobbying now or no?
Oh yeah, I got stuff.
See, you're better prepared than me. I should grab
these been sitting here since this afternoon. I don't know if you want to go to widescreen here.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I've got to get used to this again.
Yeah, it's like okay, here we go. If I can there we go.
Oh yeah.
Bring this down a little bit. There we go. That's better.
Gosh, I think I might have seen that game before.
Yeah. Did my camera just go off?
Nope. I can still see you.
Okay. I heard
that was from me.
Oh, okay. You disconnected?
I plugged my little viewer in so when I go, I can show something. But yeah, those are nice, Rusty. Looking good.
Yeah, I finished these about 2 a.m. this morning.
Oh, wow.
And then I put the video out. It's like I did a quick video of them, and then...
You're painting at 2 a.m., so you're painting.
Yeah, it's like I figured part of the motivation was the show, so I wanted to get these done. Plus, we have this is the plastic mechs from the battle or game of armored combat, Battletech. So I have that. Some of these are from Iron Wind. These are metal ones. They're pretty heavy. There's some, if you haven't watched the video, there's 5 metal ones. Those belong to my son. And so we got those. And I just bought that box set. Was it Wednesday? Was it yesterday, Wednesday?
Mm-hmm.
I better fix this.
Whoa. I think I lost you. Oh, here we go. This feels a little bit like I have to text him. This feels a little bit like Musty Wargamers. There he is. Okay, good.
Yeah, it was when I unplugged moved the camera, it unplugged itself.
I just said this is starting to feel a little bit like Musty Wargamers. We're off to a rough start.
Yeah, and then also I have here is a box of, I don't know if you can see those. That's a whole bunch.
Yep.
That's the droid army.
Sure.
I got 2 of these boxes, Star Wars Legion boxes.
Right.
2 boxes worth of these guys. So it's like a bunch of like the droidicas and a bunch of other stuff in here.
Yeah, I can see you've been doing a lot with that stuff.
The month of October alone was just assembling these bloody things.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, assembling droids is a pain. It took us maybe an hour to assemble 2 boxes worth of clone warriors or troopers, clone troopers. An hour maybe. And it took me a month to assemble these.
Wow.
It's like they're a major pain in the behind. So it's like they were sucking the life out of me. Let's just put it that way. And so eventually we'll get back to actually get a game of that in. That's the plan. Is at least right now they're the first coat of paint on them, the base coat, and then I put a wash on them. So now I just will take maybe a week of painting on them and I'll be done. I wanted to get those Battletech miniatures finished first before I got too far into it. So, you there? Mr. Freeze is pretty busy. Well, if you can hear me, say something in the chat.
So about the musty drink tonight.
Ah, you are alive.
I am. Can you hear me or no?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh gosh. Let me see. Yeah, so you got the doers.
Yep.
Am I there?
Yeah, you're there. You're back.
Okay. So you got the doers.
Doers 8-year-old Japanese smooth. All right.
Nice. So what is that what it says? It says 8-year-olds Japanese?
Yeah, 8-year-old Doers Japanese smooth.
Can I see that again? I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Yeah, it's new. It just came out.
I'm gonna have to get that.
It's like 8 years right there. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to get that and try that.
Yeah, it's I've had 1 glass of it so far. It's pretty good. It's typical Doers. You know, you have Doers is not heavily peated. It's got the peat to it. But when you just on the nose, you get a little bit of like kind of a vanilla or honey scent coming across. And
How is it compared to Centauri?
What's that?
How is it compared to the Centauri?
The Centauri is better, but Centauri doesn't have the peat in it. So
yeah.
It has kind of a honey fruity taste or scent to it coming across. And then when you taste it, you get like a bit of like cinnamon coming across. It's quite enjoyable. It's got that, when it first hits your taste buds, you get that kind of a pear apple aspect with cinnamon, like an apple pie kind of bit, and then the cinnamon, you have a little bit of peppery burn to it also. So
Nice.
very very nice. And then they have a Oloroso cask version also.
Mhm.
It's Portugal smooth, I think, like that, which is put in a Spanish or Portuguese Oloroso cask. So imagine you have what is that? Oh, how do you pronounce that? Mizunara oak cask. So it's Japanese oak.
Mm-hmm.
So you got basically a Japanese whiskey like a Suntory, Hibiki or something like that. And then they take those casks, and then they put the dewars in it.
Okay.
So it's aged in a already used Japanese cask. So.
Nice. That sounds great.
Yeah. And
well,
I think it cost me $15.
Oh, that's pretty good too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I don't have a whole lot to say for the summer because even though it was quite eventful, I can kind of sum it up pretty quickly. But I would just say, I mentioned on my YouTube channel that I had kind of a big, huge career sort of transition during the summer. And it wasn't so much like leaving a job and finding a new job kind of thing. It was more that I'd been working for the last 3 years on a project to create a business with a partnership group. And I was the main business person in it, where the others were like doctors and things like that. And what ended up happening is that 3-year project came to culmination in September. And so all summer long, I was in a hiring stage, and I literally hired 30 people over the summer and probably 10 in September, October. So probably a total of 40 after that. And it was a huge ramp up. Like I've never experienced anything like it before. And so, a lot of this project was avenues of things that I've experienced, but I'd never done anything to completion like as much myself throughout the whole process. And so really everything in my life practically, like it's crazy, even family, like, a lot of family, seeing family and stuff really had to take a back seat for a little while. And so really my normal taking off from the hobby to just do summer stuff. And usually I do like a month and a half every summer just to sort of like do stuff during the summer and just remember how much I like hobbying, like not have projects on the go that I feel like I have to do, but just sort of take some time off. And this was nothing like that. This was like I literally had a multifunctional printer in my hobby space, and my whole hobby space turned into an office at home. I only recently got that printer out, like recently out of the room, to just because the one thing I'll tell you is like the worst thing you can do for a hobby area is actually, if you have one, is to turn it into a workspace with a hobby area, because then you'll never not think about work. Like you'll always be like putting the hobbying aside, and basically, and so that September 20th is a day I'll never forget, because that was the day we opened, and it's been really busy since, but it's gotten more normal all the time again. And now I've been able to start hobbying, but I've been doing it slowly. And we'll talk about this tonight, like some of the stuff we're doing with some of the topics and things. But for me, it's still really slow, but I've been able to at least have some meaningful hobbying, because it's like a game I'm playing and I'm adding figures that I can use in the game. It's like a skirmish game. And so I've enjoyed painting again, like slowly doing it. And I've enjoyed adding the miniatures in and using them in a game. And I'm gaming a little bit more regularly than I typically do during the COVID time. And that's been strictly the Marvel game. And I've been really enjoying it. I'll transition into, just going to switch this camera here to the hue. And I'll just show, I showed this on the video. For you guys that watched the video, I'll just kind of quickly show. So these are a pack that for the Marvel game Vision, and I've shown these, both on the Musty Wargamers Facebook page. It's a little, I'm not going to say embarrassing, but like I've not done a lot of painting. So like I show these guys because this is like what I've done. But I have this week started to paint Wong from the Doctor Strange. And then, of course, I've got Doctor Strange right there next. And so I'm starting to, and I got the Doctor Strange base that he goes on that I started painting. But I'm started to at least enjoy getting back on the hobby table. But nothing like I used to do as far as production yet. Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to, I hate being somebody that makes excuses because of work and stuff, like, because everybody has responsibilities that they do. And it's hard to really compare one person to the next. I don't want to say I'm busier than anyone else. You know what I mean? Like, because that's not necessarily true. But I'm trying to figure out like how to transition back into having time. Like I've actually been painting in the mornings, which I've never done in my life when I do it before work. And that seems, because I go in a little later to try to span into the evening of it with my job, that seems to be a little bit okay. And I might be able to start working my sleep schedule so I actually am more amenable to it, because some days I don't feel like painting in the morning when I wake up. I've always historically been more of a night person, and so not a morning person, and so that'll be a transition for me. I am enjoying some Weiser's deluxe whiskey tonight, so nothing real fancy. It is the deluxe as opposed to the entry level shelf, and I do find historically that the deluxe is a bit smoother, and so I do kind of like that.
Aged a little longer.
Yeah, probably. They don't tell you how long it's aged on the front of the label, probably because they don't want to tell you how long it's been aged, but it is smoother. It says double distilled and aged in 2 select barrels, resulting in the notes of toasted grains, oak, rich toffee, and a smooth, enduring finish. I like it. The first time, I've always liked the original, although I always kind of called it like my cowboy drink, because it's just like drinking whiskey. I mean, it's not like drinking scotch. It doesn't have the actual entry level of this is like, reminds me of like I'm watching a cowboy movie, like of what they would have in the bottle. Like, like it's like a real cowboy drink. This one, when I had it, it was like the same flavor, but just nicer. If that makes sense.
Any scent profile or anything?
Good. That's my characteristic.
It's good.
I let you do that.
I'm getting a lot of vanilla and honey coming across right now in mine, because it's starting to open up.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah,
it's either thumbs up or thumbs down, right?
But I will tell you, I guess I could say that was kind of cool. I will tell you that I have really, as I said on my channel, enjoyed the Marvel game. And it's going to relate to one of our topics tonight. But I've enjoyed the games. And I actually did play some Star Wars Armada before Marvel, and really enjoyed that too. I've always loved that game, and I love that. But the Marvel game has been really fun. And so, yeah, it's been a nice thing to incorporate the painting and the gaming with. It's been a really great games. So,
yeah, it's one of those things where if you're working on something that you like, it helps keep the creative juices flowing.
Absolutely.
And if you're playing something, that helps greatly. Like, it's one of those deals where it's like, just Googled it. It's $50 Australian for a bottle. Oh my God.
Which one's that? That's probably Rusty's, the Doer's Japanese.
Yeah.
You're talking about? That's well, I hear that. I've heard lots of horror stories from the hobbying perspective in Australia when it comes to that. Looks like we've got Chevrolet Griffin joining.
Scott showed up.
Oh, we got a new name. Hey, Scott.
It's
That is a
Smitty.
new name for him, right?
Yeah, it's it's like Knight's Pantry.
That's right, because I remember Knight's Pantry. Yeah, from like several, seasons.
Yeah, I think he changed the title. Glenmorangian water here. Yes, it's like the old 10-year-old good go-go juice. I almost brought that down, but it's like, no, it's like I'm gonna bring in something different.
So yeah, like we were saying, Gloria Mount says, "Oh yeah, 200 Australian for a GW starter." I've heard so many horror stories about how the prices are so much more in Australia.
Yeah, it's like major inflation costs of everything.
That must really promote a lot of supporting local industry stuff, because, in all honesty, like, how can you handle that? I mean,
I imagine it's got to be pretty hard to import anything and actually have it be played.
Yeah.
With like paying that kind of money is like, it's bad enough as like to buy like that Star Wars Legion box normally is $100 out the door. Yeah, I paid $80, I think, for it off Amazon. So it's like, yeah, I can see something like that probably goes $150 or more.
Yeah,
something like that. For I'm trying to say what that AGOAC. Not sure what that stands for.
I have no idea, actually. Yeah, so, like, I was maybe for a go. I don't know.
So probably one of the games or something. Or I'm not sure.
So we've got that's kind of one of our topics, was like the summer piece, just like what have we been up to, and really I think we're just sort of both kind of getting back into the groove of things, which doesn't, and it's funny that it happened on season 5, right? Like, like this is our 5th season, but now we got to get back into the groove of things. This is like season number 5, and I think we're both excited still to do the show.
Battletech box set. Okay.
Yeah. So
a game of armored combat. Okay, got it. No.
We had a lot of fun with the intro videos that we kind of, Rusty and I talked about it, like what should we do like for season 5, and we got like our show for the one thing is you don't have to drink alcohol to watch our show, like, and we've never said like that like, and I know nobody needs us to tell you that, but like, we're not trying to promote drinking, like, but it is a show with adults, and we do enjoy a drink, and that's just been part of the brand of our show, because we like we like to have a drink together, just like some people like to go out to a pub or whatever. And so it's not that like we're trying to promote that as much as miniature gaming or whatever, but part of our because that's part of our theme, we thought the Dos Equis commercial would be kind of funny. So for those of you that saw our commercial, it was meant to be tongue-in-cheek, of course, and just completely funny, like, and it's modeled after the Dos Equis commercial, where there's like this distinguished guy that, like is untouchable or whatever, and like, and when, he doesn't drink beer often, but when he does, he likes to drink Dos Equis. And so that was just something we thought it was just be really funny. And so we got a real kick out of it. I know some of the people we know did too.
And when we put the word out to Victor and asked him to, it's like, yes. And it's like, Victor said he'll do it. And you sent us we gave him the script of what we wanted him to do, what to say. And it's like, do this one, then do this one, then do this one. And he did a good job. It made it really. Yeah. And then when we added it's like the first time I put my video together, and it's like, it's like, what's that music that you want to go with that? I couldn't remember what the music was, because I played I played the video. It's like without the music, and it's like, what? There's something missing. Oh yeah, the music. We need the music.
I wanted it to be in the spirit of the commercial. It wasn't the music from the commercial. I just wanted it to be like in the spirit of that, like something that had that same feel. And so I thought it was pretty suitable. And so
Yeah,
here we
I had-
are.
It's like, I had my wife and my son help me out with that.
My daughter helped me with some of the shooting too of the shots.
It's like is it with your outside shots, with you doing your little sword play. That was, it's funny. That was like, it was like when you sent me your version. I was like, oh man.
Man.
It's like one of the scenes is like where, you seen the one part, in the Battletech game. It's like you see the mechs. That was from one of the games we were playing that didn't get put into a Battletech video. It was just a pickup game we had.
Yeah.
And it's like, because we had it set up to do the one game that we had, and then we did another game, and it's like, I was like looking down, and I was like, you know what? Here's my phone, take a picture. And it's like, so he did. It's like worked out. So
that outfit that I was wearing in that video is over 30 years old.
Yeah.
It's from when I was like, it was from when I was like 20, let's just say. So yeah, it's like in that area. It's like over 30 years old in that area. And I had said, she wanted to keep redoing the shot, and I had said, I'm getting out of this backyard. I'm not wearing this anymore. And she's like, I said, let me see what you got. And I'm like, I could speed that up and do this, no problem. I got it. And I thought it came out pretty good.
Yeah, I like when you went with all black and white with everything.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to have that little look,
kind of an old school style. Made me think, it's like, oh, this is like a 60s or 50s or 60s commercial. That how cartoonish kind of look that went to it.
Yeah.
It's like I remember watching shows back in the 60s. When I was a young lad, about that tall.
Yeah,
and it's like a lot of the commercials were all like cartoonish like that, or black and white.
Apparently, Silent Mouse. I'm not sure if he's talking about my age there. I don't know. But yeah, no, I am dated. But
and so, you're young compared to me, so.
So yeah, so I jumped in and out of there real quick because I don't want to put any more performance on for the neighbors, and so.
They were like probably looking out the windows, those blinds go open, and
it's winter here. All the leaves are falling. I'm on full display.
Yeah,
but
most
I just don't care, So, and I obviously didn't care too much because I still did it.
Well, all of our leaves pretty much dropped in the last couple of days. It's like we had leaves, and all of a sudden it's just overnight they just fell and hit the ground. And then we had a big, nice little windy day, and it's like, well, they're all in the street. And I raked what was left yesterday. So.
Annex is back for season 5 with the Musty Wargamers again. Thank you very much for joining in tonight. It says, I watched all the Battletech cartoon videos this week. Now I just want to say, you dare to refuse my
Batchall
to everyone.
Yeah, it's like you got to paint your face all green, like a weirdo.
So, kind of in theme of what we're talking about, the next topic of really had 3 tonight. Part of it was just what we were up to this summer. So we kind of talked a lot about that in addition to our updates. And now we've got 2 more. This next one we're transitioning in is getting back into the groove, right? How to get your hobby mojo back. How do you get back into things? I'm sort of paraphrasing Rusty, right? That's pretty much what it is.
How to get your mojo back after so long without it.
Yes. And so, Rusty, given everything we've said, and given that, you're painting again, and we both admitted that we're slowly getting back into it. We've talked about this topic before, but I think what's different now is that we're both actually we're heavily into it, a funk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, how are you right now? What are you doing? How do you see yourself getting back into it, or what's helped it, or what are you trying to do in order to kind of get back into things again?
Well, part of what helped kick me into gear was getting my Kickstarter for Battletech. That was really, it's like, oh yeah, I got all this Kickstarter miniatures now. It's like, it's like you've been waiting and waiting for almost 2 years to get them, and then finally they show up, and you're like, in some ways it was just another kick in the pants. You're like, I was like, I just have hardly any drive. It's like I think I painted maybe 4 miniatures the entire summer.
Mm.
It took me that long just to get that much done, and it's like you start picking up, you do a little bit, and you go, I have no motivation. I'm just tired.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like when you spend all time outside and you're in the heat and you're like, I have zero motivation. It's like I just want to sit and vegetate and watch Babylon 5 or something, So we'll watch some TV and drink some scotch and then go to bed.
Yeah.
And so when the Kickstarter stuff showed up, I was like, okay, I'm like looking at it. I laid it all out and I was like, okay, I need to organize this into actually units that I want to. And it's like, then it just looked like a major daunting task. And I just like put it all away. I was like, I'm just going to shelf it for the moment and figure out what I want to do. And then it's like, you know what? I think I'm just going to grab a few miniatures out of the box and then just do a handful. And I got really ambitious for about 2 days on those clan invasion box set. There's 5 mechs that come in that box set, and it's like I got probably 75% of them done. Because I got the base coat, everything, the greens and everything done, and then I just hit the wall, and I was like, all right, motivation just went to 0 again. I'm not really sure what I want to do here. I was like, I've never had this funk before. Even it's like I've always had that. It's like I wanted to do something. Typically, it's like when you play BattleTech or you play any type of game, you want to paint those miniatures that you're playing with.
Yeah.
But I'm lucky enough in some ways that I'm playing BattleTech on a regular basis still, but I have like 500 miniatures painted already.
Right.
So it's not like I have to go out and paint the ones I have unless I want to use something specific in a campaign game or something like that. And that's it. So some of the motivation that's been helping me is like my son is kind of pushing me. He's like, hey, Dad, you want to, it's like, get some of these miniatures done so we can use them. And it's like in a game or something. I was like, I suppose. And that's this last week. I just picked these up and just went to town on them. Got them done, and I was like, part of the motivation really got me going in the last week is the show.
Yeah,
is like I want something to show off at the show. I gotta do something. It's like I'm not gonna dig out something I haven't been working on,
Yeah.
So it's like all these soul sucking Star Wars miniatures is like. Sure, I did some base coats on them. That was easy. And then putting a wash on them, that's a no-brainer. But it's like when you spend a month assembling miniatures, it's like that's one thing I hate the most is assembling. And then when it takes you a month to do 2 boxes worth, they're like, oh man. It's like I feel like someone threw the anchor out in the ocean and I was tied to it. So.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. You mentioned some different things that made you get back into it. And one is like getting new toys, which realized, and you didn't say it like that, but that's kind of what I would touch on too. Like that, but also then like a little bit of maybe some feeling of peer pressure, like which I thought about it too, exactly like you. I thought like I'm going to be on here, I'm going to have nothing to show. And to be honest, I really didn't have anything to show. Like the 2 of the miniatures I showed, I've shown a lot in different places already. And then one of them is the stuff that I'm working on right now. But it's still got like mostly primer. It's just, one base coat of the main base coat on the robes that he's wearing. But I felt in order to get back into things, there were a couple of things that I'm starting to do that are helping and that actually make me feel good about doing it. And one is I mentioned that my whole office was like sort of a business sort of office, like in addition to hobby space. It also was a mess. Like it was actually covered with papers on the floor and like just garbage everywhere, that like stuff that I'm just either it's boxes that I've opened for other things that were just sitting on the floor, or was like stuff to do with the business. And I ended up doing a first surface clean of the room, the hobby room. It may not look like, I never keep my place totally pristine. I like it when it is, but I still have the same stuff I normally always have, floating around over there. But I did actually make my space feel a lot better. I actually took over one whole side of my area here and put stuff over there, and I've got more space here. And it just made me feel good about sitting down at the hobby desk and having some space to spread out and stuff. And then the other thing was, I wasn't even interested at all in buying any miniatures the entire summer. Like when I was out, I was totally out in my head. I didn't have any pressure in my head, which I normally do in the hobby. I like to look at stuff, and I like to collect old Warhammer models, and I like to, I'm always looking into things for fun, like even when I'm not hobbying normally, and I wasn't doing that at all. And now the Marvel game had me buying some miniatures, and then I'm starting to get, thinking about painting my French Indian War again. And then I've actually been looking at picking up some, I've mentioned for a long time that my next Old Hammer army is a high elf army, and I'm actually I actually bought 8 more White Lions from the Marauder line, like the early Marauder line, like the first ones that did with command, and to add to 5 that I have. So I picked those up off of Facebook in a group, and then I actually decided, this is starting to feel good. And so I put an ad out there, some things I've been wanting for a while, and one of them was the original Marauder Dragon rider, Emmerich, the champion kind of hero on the dragon. And that model is actually really hard to find, and it kind of commands a fair price these days, that original model. And I was able to find one, and I just purchased one yesterday. And so that like just made me feel a little giddy, like, I was kind of really excited about it. And those kind of things. So spending money, that might sound like a cop-out, but like just that, like cleaning up my space, I've just been getting more into the mindset of the stuff that I like, and I've been enjoying, like getting kind of approaching doing the hobbying again. And so completing a miniature that I can use in a game, like in the Marvel game, using one skirmish figure, hero, has his own full card, and it adds a lot to the game. Like one model adds a lot to the game. So by painting one miniature, which isn't a lot of paint time, because I'm not painting them like, Golden Demon style, I'm just painting like to the standard that I like and I think is nice. But by painting to that standard and just getting that ready for the next weekend for a game, it's like bringing a new unit to the game in most other games I play, like, where you'd have a whole series of troops. That one figure adds a whole lot to the team. And so that's been fun to be able to start painting again. A little bit goes a long way for the game, and then, it's a new game. So I guess that's how I've been trying to just kind of get back into it, just enjoying the things I always liked, by like trying to pick up some more collectibles that I want to paint in the future. And then being in a game that sort of I'm actively playing and painting to expand on. And that's kind of like the whole concept of a slow grow, or like, how those leagues where you can paint in order to play for the next thing. And that matchup of like, using what you're gaming with and painting it to be inspiring is helping me currently in this kind of game.
Yeah, one thing that helped me was, you see all the Star Wars miniatures are sitting at the lid of this box. They were sitting all over my table, workspace. And it was like, I would looked at them, and it's like, man, that is so much work and time I put into just getting to that point with them. And it's like a soul sucking that I just put them all in the lid. And it's like, oh, you're all going into the lid of the box. It's putting you off to the side. It's slightly out of the sight. And then it's like, wow, that opened up my entire workspace. And it's like, oh, I just have these small number mechs right here. That's easy enough to do. And it's like, I just started cranking on them. And that helped. It was like focusing down onto like you did. It's like, it's easy to do a small unit, a small miniature, just doing something, one item or small thing. It's like, how do you eat an elephant? one bite at a time, and it's like, and that's pretty much what I did to myself. It was like, all right, if I'm going to eat the elephant, I got to, not look at the whole elephant. I'm just going to start taking little bites out of it. So, and that's pretty much what I did, and it's worked. It's just like after I got done with these, I was like, wow, that felt good. It's like I haven't did this much work since May, because I think the last time it was my Tomb King stuff. I was working on my Tomb King, just going like crazy because we had our little painting challenge.
Yeah,
and I did what's his name, the big necromancer, head of the Tomb Kings. God, it's like I'm drawing a blank all of a sudden. So the old fantasy miniature.
Oldhammer model you bought. I remember it.
Yeah, it's like I had him, and it's like that's the last big model like worked on, and then everything just suddenly got busy for me, and it's like, man, I don't have time for anything all of a sudden. So it's like we're going back 6 months or more. Last time I had some severe amount of work done. It's like, and I just looked at that, and it's like that felt good. That's what I needed. It's like I kind of feel energized now.
Mm-hmm.
So much so that I grabbed another box set of Battletech miniatures, a Game of Armored Combat, 8 more mechs, and I put the base coat on them and a wash on them today, and it's like, well, they're just sitting back there on the desk right behind that chair right there. So they're going to be red, painted red. It's like House Kurita, here they come.
Yeah, I have to watch. I mean, that whole thing with the purchasing in order to like get back into something. As you know, like I have a lot of stuff like as far as that I can paint. Like I don't have.
Yeah.
I can paint for years without I could paint for years at my most prolific rate of painting, which is far from what it is now. I mean, like so far. It's like and I still could go for years, like and so I don't really need to buy stuff. Like I showed the Battle Giant and the Woodland Animals, but in a lot of ways, there's the things that I've just wanted for a really long time, and had my eye on them for a really long time, and I just bought them as a feel good kind of thing, and just to have them for the future to paint. And but really, I probably, other than the stuff for the Marvel game that I'm going to use to game because I truly need it in the game, I probably need to slow down, not by too much, in order to get my mojo back, because I'm just going to be deeper in the hole of backlog.
One thing it's done for me is like I don't even look at eBay right now.
Yeah,
it's like
I stopped too. And I'm back.
It's like why do I need to keep looking? It's like every time I look at it, it's like, oh, that's cool. I need this. Oh, I'd like to have that. I'd like to. And then you realize, well, I got a lead pile of shame sitting over there that's in boxes that could be pulled out, and it's like I could be doing Oldhammer stuff,
Yeah, absolutely.
Easily. Like I don't need to buy any more stuff. I'm gonna actively try to not buy anything off eBay for a year. That's gonna be my goal right now. So
did you find you were buying a lot?
Not really buying anything. It's like I just realized after not buying hardly anything over the summer, I've like gone like 5-6 months without really buying anything.
Yeah.
Like, I could probably do this. I think I can easily do a year without delving into anything new. Just start pulling out old stuff that I have. Has been said, is like I'm kind of like a living museum here.
And I've got a ton too. It's true. I mean, I do enjoy, like with the High Elf Army, I know that one day it's going to be like my Beastmen, where you're going to be seeing like High Elves on my channel all the time. And that's kind of what that's for. It was the same thing with the Beastmen. It led up to huge years of buying. But I'm kind of coming to a close with that. In a lot of ways, there's very few models I really feel the need to get for the High Elves at this point. Not that many, at least.
That's kind of like I'm looking at my Tomb Kings army. Is that it's one of those things where I could probably buy a bunch. I got a large collection of Tomb King stuff I still need to break out and finish painting.
Mm-hmm.
But like you're doing with your Beastmen, there's certain old style metal ones, that go back to the 80s and early 90s that you could search and find, and add to the collection. They really don't add much to it. They're just, basic rank and files kind of stuff, or a hero or something of that nature. It's kind of nice to think that, I have a bunch of old stuff I'd like to add a few more things, but right now I just need to finish what I have and work my way through it.
Absolutely. And that's one thing I did do. I guess I didn't mention it. I kind of forgot, but the guys that are like, that I've shown you guys, in the past, like the Bob Ollie ones, which I don't know if you guys remember, but these are like the Bob Ollie Beastmen. I could switch cameras. I'm not going to. If anybody watches my channel, you know what I'm talking about, because I've talked about these when I collected all 30 of the individual sculpts over years. That's all I showed them regularly.
Those are the ones from the 80s, right?
These, I think, are actually
early 90s.
I think these are very early 90s. They might be late 80s. I should know that, but I think they're either very late 80s, like 89, or they're like 90, 91. But in any case, I actually found 2 blisters, because I decided last spring that I wanted to paint them as the blisters they came out in, and so I would paint 5 at a time in the actual Realm of Chaos blister it came in, not because I got them all individually, but I've grouped them into the way they actually were released. So I thought it'd be really fun old hammer kind of painting to just paint 5 in the blister I would have got them from, and then paint the next 5 in the next blister. And I've taken those first 2 blisters that I just grabbed, they happen to be Nurgle ones, and I've put them in the dip, and I'm getting them ready, and they're going to be a painting project coming up pretty soon. And so that's going to be something that I'll really enjoy and do for fun. Yeah.
I need to look and see if I have some old Beastmen throughout my armies. Like there's probably a few in there. I'd say they're probably early 90s, most of the stuff I have for my Beastmen. It's like when they came out with 4th edition Warhammer Fantasy.
And they have a number of different types of Beastmen from Citadel. Like, I mean, there's ones earlier than the ones that I really sought out to collect, and I have some of those. There are some that came out at the same time, but they were more Khorne and Slaanesh based. And they have some other ones. And then they have the ones that are my more rank and file metal ones, which I really like, the ones that I painted up on my channel. And then they have, plastic ones and all kinds of other ones, like that are nice too. But yeah.
Like most of mine are part of my Chaos Warriors army. It's like they're, I have them. They're part of the Chaos Warriors, not necessarily. They're probably Beastmen army, but, I just have them as my Chaos Warriors, this mutated warriors. It's like they're Slaanesh, they're Nurgle, Khorne, and you name it. Probably the same stuff you have.
Yeah, I mean, I have some of them already. Like, I've collected some of the others too. I love them because they had a lot of variety. That's one thing that's cool about the Beastmen. When they used to paint them, have them all individually, each guy, like when you look at Nurgling's collections, like it's like that, where like one person after the next, one Beastman after the next looks a little different. So they look like a horde, right? Like monstrosities, and that's one of the things that is nice when you get all the variety of them, for sure.
I need to talk to Mel, Striker 11B, who's on here every once in a while. He has a whole bunch of old same era of stuff that we have for Chaos, and I think he probably has a lot of overlapping stuff between the two of us, or he has just as many as we do. Probably combined. He's got a large collection of stuff just sitting in boxes.
Nice.
Twist his arm sometime.
To show them, or to what?
Yeah, just have him dig them out and just take a look at them.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be cool. You can show him on his channel.
Yeah.
So do you want to go to the comments for a moment? We'll just kind of
let's go.
Yeah. So we have after there was the next line, after you dare refuse my Batchel is your what? And then we got prepare to face the full wrath of the Falcon's Claw. Mummy Kickstarter.
I wonder what that's a mummy kick. I haven't heard about that. Is that like movie mummy, or is that the just something that's a mummy?
I'm definitely gonna have to paint with Falcon's Claw and scrap it out with Brad. Brad would be Lord Draconum. And then we got let's see here. They're talking about that B word stuff, I think.
Yes, that's the
they're
Somerset
doing. We're
Striker.
talking about that stuff. And so lots of battle.
13th Wolf Guard. What was that? Oh, 7th Crucius Lancers.
I think this was referring to our conversation where we're talking about getting the new models, although it might not be. It might still be the Battletech stuff. And no, I think it is. And then he says not buying anything on Evil Base hard.
Yeah, it is. It's sometimes when you see a really good deal on there, it's like, oh man, that's like almost the same price you would pay it 30 years ago. You're like, you jump on it, and then you realize I'll just add it to everything I haven't painted yet.
Yeah. And we got so glad I kicked my GW habit when Warhammer Fantasy Battle died.
Yeah, that helped. And then what really helped me not buying GW stuff is when they went from 7th to 8th edition Warhammer 40K and did the same route they did with Fantasy, turned it into that one S word and show. I wasn't too happy with it. It's like that just kind of is like I was buying all kinds of Forge World stuff because I love the Forge World models because they look so nice compared to the standard GW fare. Like paid a hefty price for them, and I usually buy every year at fair time. I would buy some, like a model or big model or something to add to my collection. It's like I don't have that motivation right now to even look at GW stuff, like other than old, like we're looking at the old stuff. Old school.
And that's the thing that I was going to say that's interesting because other than getting a pot of paint, which I mostly use model color, but I use some GW still, even the modern GW paints. But I find that although I haven't spent any money on a model for GW in years, and part of that is definitely because I don't play the modern games. It's only in some ways impassioned me more for the past of GW.
Yeah.
Like I actually like getting the old books and I like getting the old models and I like thinking about playing like 6th edition or like earlier editions of Warhammer Fantasy Battle. Or even, I would play 8th edition and try it, but it's just, I find that that I'm only more interested in the past stuff, but based on seeing the present and seeing some of the different type of character in the older models. That's just different. And so I'm not really off of GW, but I'm definitely off of GW as a company now. Like I don't buy anything now.
It's like what we're doing is we're purchasing stuff that's already gone through the mill. It's like, it's not new. None of it's new. You're not paying new price. Well, you're paying practically new prices for some of the stuff, but it's not new. It's been through the grinder, or it's been painted or badly painted, or still just like someone built an army and never painted it, Yeah. And that's the nice thing about it. It's like it's nostalgia. It's like you think back to some of the older days of when you used to play. It's like you had that. It's like I have a lot of fond memories of playing Games Workshop fantasy battles and old 40K and even up to 7th edition 40K. I liked it.
Yeah.
But now it's like what I see coming down the pipe or what's through the pipe, and I was like, I don't know, like what's coming out of the pipe. So, and it's like I think 7th edition was the last 40K edition. It's like, it's no longer 40K anymore. So it's Sigmarine. That's all it is. But
I wouldn't even know. I'm so far removed from it.
It plays like Age of Sigmar now.
Yeah.
It's Age of Sigmar with guns. So,
just to throw a curveball here, I know we have another topic, but I haven't heard anything more, and maybe it's because I'm just not paying attention because we've talked about how I've been gone for 6 months, like from the hobby. But I haven't heard really anything more about the old world game.
No, I haven't either. You're right.
Because there was this spur of information back, like, you
That
know,
was a
like,
year ago, wasn't it?
6 months to a year ago, there was definitely some information that was coming out. All I've heard is that it's definitely 28 mil. Little disappointed. I actually would have rather it have been like, you know, something like a specialist game, to be honest, that could be cool. But it's going to be 28 mil, and it's going to be, what I heard is that they're going to be fairly premium models that, you know, you would get potentially through Forge World or something like that. And I think I heard even that it was going to be kind of like the fantasy version of the Horus Heresy game, like, you know, playing the Horus Heresy stuff, you know, like not the actual, like, not that the rules are going to be the same, you know, but that it's going to be like their sectioned off rule set, like, you know how they have
kind of like Forge World's version of Warhammer Fantasy,
right? No, 40K. Yeah, like it would be the fantasy version of the 40K of Forge World or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, I'd heard that it could be like that, but I don't know that that's true. I mean, it's still rumors and stuff, but in any case, I haven't heard much. But I kind of knew it wasn't going to be for me anyway. Like, I haven't even seen it. I'm certain that it's not going to be something I'm going to be interested in.
No, we were highly motivated. It's like when we were talking about, you know, when the Adeptus Titanicus was going to come out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like we heard everything. It's like, wow, okay, they're bringing it back. You know, it's like I still got all of my Warhammer Epic stuff. You know, I have all that 40K Epic. And then they said, oh, that's going to be 10 mil, and it's just going to be the big Titans. And that's like, oh. But I think both of us are like at the same time, like, yeah, we're going to pass on that. It's like, this is not the game I'm looking for. And which is interesting. I just seen a trailer for Obi-Wan Kenobi today.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that too. I think it's like on Disney Plus, right?
Yes, which I have Disney Plus.
Yeah. I saw a trailer on Netflix for it. Yeah, no. Very Silent Mouse says, if I want to play sci-fi 20 millimeter, I'll play Infinity, and I actually totally agree with that. I don't have any I actually like to paint the models for Infinity. I have a daughter that likes to play occasionally a game, but I don't really have folks to play that with for the most part. And so would love to play that. It's such a great game.
Well, Infinity was kind of popular here for a while, and then it disappeared.
Yeah.
It's one of those games. It's like the flavor of the day. It was popular for about a year, and then now you don't even see it. It's not even on the shelf here, I don't think. So
yeah,
sad.
It's definitely in Calgary on the shelves. But I think it's great. To be honest, I think it's
well. An interesting thing is like even War Machine Hordes is no longer in our. They don't even sell it anymore in our store.
Mm-hmm.
That used to be a whole wall. It's like a wall the size and length of my basement here was to the ceiling with nothing but War Machine Hordes miniatures that would just constantly, you know, and it's not even in the store because no one plays it anymore. It's like
it says, I think in talking about the old world, it says I saw in an article it's going to be a rule-wise a combo of 5th, 6th, and 7th. I saw something like that too, that they were going to have stuff spread across different editions. I don't know how much I believe any amount that how it's going to be weighted either way, but you know, it'd be interesting. I mean, it's unfortunate after you've been burned like with Age of Sigmar and stuff. You think that anybody that thinks that they're going to be able to play the game with an old army that they have after a year is sadly mistaken, because they will, of course, you know, make it some incentive to get the new models and stuff. And
well, it was evident just by I went over to our local Games Workshop store, and this is about 3 years ago, and we're getting into trying to play the Age of Sigmar, and I brought my old miniatures, you know, my old Tomb Kings, Vampire Counts, you know, all those miniatures from way back all the way to 3rd edition. And I brought them in, and the guy that was running the store says, "You can't play that stuff in here. It's not Games Workshop miniatures." And I'm like, "Yes, they are." It's like, They're older than you, pal. That's how long I've been playing your game. So
this is an old company.
It's like they've been making miniatures since the early 80s, and some of these are from the 80s. So sorry. But they hassled you because you're not playing the official Age of Sigmar miniatures. It's like,
son, these miniatures were from a time when you were a twinkle in your dad's eye.
these miniatures can vote and drink. So and they have their own kids now. Heck, I got miniatures that are older than my kids. So heck,
yeah. Well, I do too, actually, and
yeah.
So.
But yeah, it's crazy. It's one of those deals where it's like you have individuals running these places now that they don't even know their own history of their own company, or even know what, when they see it, is looking at it, it's like they don't even recognize it. It's like, because they have their mindset. See, the plastic miniatures are supersized 32 mils versus the old 25 to 28 mil. It's like everything used to be time when things were 25 mil. So it's crazy.
GW or Muppets like that.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, so our last topic, and it's interesting. We had a little bit of a late start tonight, but we've been sort of casually going through this stuff through our first getting back into things with season 5. So we started at a little later than 8 tonight, but we're hitting 9:20 here at least. Talking Mountain Time, 10:20 there, I guess. Our last topic was, what would it take for you to play one game only?
Wow, that is a good question. One game, and then
to rule them all.
I don't know. It's like I need to say anymore.
But that's not the game. The question isn't which is the one you would choose if you had to choose one game.
What would it take, though?
The reality is, you play that game, but you also play lots of others still. Yeah. The question is, theoretically, what would it take for you to only play one game? And now, reality is, neither you or I are only going to play one game, but I had some thoughts on this, and that's why I brought it up. So I just kind of want to hear your thoughts, and then I'll kind of share mine.
Well, it's one of those things where I constantly going through life. It's like it's been 35-year journey so far of trying to find that one game that really just fits the bill. And it's like there's ones that I always harken back to, like, I've always been playing Battletech since for 35 plus years now. There's a reason for it, but it's, if you're going to have one game, the rules have to have enough complexity to make me happy, but simple enough to make me happy also, that anybody can pick it up. Mm-hmm. And then throw in some really cool miniatures into it. That's the eye candy. It's like you look at something, it's like that's a snapshot you're looking at. What's that snapshot that is like, hey, that's the vacation I want to go into, right? Mm-hmm. And once you get into that, you're on that vacation, and it's like, oh, what are the itinerary? What's all the things we're doing while on that vacation that's going to make me happy, And that's where the rules come in. It's like, and I think that's what I always looking at is, what am I finding something that is going to scratch that itch that you have? Mm-hmm. There's a reason I have shelves of nothing but rule books, because I'm always looking at something, trying to find something that will fit the bill and make you happy.
So before I answer, I've had a secondary thought on this, and would I be right to say that even for someone other than me, like you, Rusty, just a different person, that some of your happiest times probably in your gaming career probably were when you were really enthused with a game and you were playing it all the time with your friends.
Yeah.
And so, and that it wasn't that maybe you never played anything else, but that you were primarily at that time consumed with one game.
Mm-hmm.
Would I be wrong to say that? If you went back to your memories of gaming that in your gaming career, would you agree that those times might have been some of the best times?
Yeah, I totally agree. Is that you always have you're focused on something, and everybody is also focused on it, and they're enjoying it and playing it, and it's like you just feel like you're on a ride that will never stop.
Yeah,
right? You're on the rocket ship, and hey, we're going to the moon.
Yeah,
and it's like, and you're just going, and eventually it's like, oh, sometimes that enthusiasm wanes with other people, and that's why you end up going away from a certain game, even though you still have that love for a game.
Yeah,
it's like it's like the old Warhammer Fantasy. We talked about it. We both have that nostalgia for it because I played it a lot, and I have a lot of fond memories of it, even though there's good times, bad times. But it seemed like everybody was playing it, along with, it's like, we're either playing Warhammer Fantasy or Battletech.
Mm-hmm.
That, with some other peripheral games kind of floating around. It's like, oh, let's try this one for a while, and then it's like, hey, cool. And then all of a sudden, we're burned out on that one in a couple months, type of deal.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like whether I go to the start of my gaming, which was an RPG role playing, and it was like the early Dungeons and Dragons, or whether, and that would be when I played only that for like an inordinately long period of time. And then whether it be when I was playing 40K for a really long time and really enjoying it and getting back into tabletop gaming, or whether it was when I was doing a lot of like a little bit more X-Wing than other things for a period of time.
Mm-hmm.
During those times, I just, either I had a group of people I was playing with that you would always see, then everybody was primarily playing that, or it was me just focused on that. But I found those are some of my best times, like, you know what I mean, in the hobby. The times when everybody was like scattered to 5 different things, and everybody's 5 different things were different, and I would never play too many games in a row of any one thing. And that could be just my personality. I found kind of disconnected,
Yes.
from what I really liked, like from a gaming perspective. Now, painting perspective is a little different because I can actually paint different things and really enjoy myself painting. And it doesn't have to be that I'm like painting for the same thing all the time. Like, I can actually paint different stuff.
A different intrinsic value to it, and it is satisfying a different thing, part of what you consider the hobby.
Yeah.
Because one is like it's like one's a social contract, the other one is a personal contract.
Yeah. I would agree with that. And I think that's a big part of it.
When you have a group of individuals all focused on the same game, that is when everybody's focused on it. That's some of the best times you ever have. It's like you're always looking forward to it. It's like, I'm motivated to paint these miniatures because I'm wanting to get them on the table and play with them because I'm enjoying the game.
Yeah.
And that is like one's feeding the other. It's like, and it's like oh, I want to get that unit painted up because I want to throw it on the table because it's nice and shiny, new, and it's going to get stomped on. That's not usually how it works. But you're always motivated to get that unit painted so you can play the game. And then when you're playing the game, it's like, oh, I got a different idea how I want to do things. I'm going to get that other unit painted. So it's like it's feeding itself.
Yeah. And
when you don't have that, so it's like you said, when you got 5 people want to play something different, and no one's like, I don't want to. It's like I don't really feel in playing like that. I don't feel like it's kind of like what I got going on right now. It's like we got one person wants, oh, I want to just play this. I want to play this, and everybody's like, not really. It's like we're not really feeling it.
Yeah.
So you got one person that's trying to motivate everybody to play something different, and no one else wants to play it. And it's like kind of suddenly you find everybody's going 19 different directions. I'm going to do my own thing for a while.
Yeah. And, and I didn't even mention like Saga and Musket and Tomahawk's first edition. The only reason I say first edition is I haven't really pulled out second edition yet. I definitely plan on doing it after playing some more sharp practice, but I just those times when I played first edition Musket and Tomahawks and then Saga, and actually really Saga both editions. I really like Saga all the time. But you know, like those also gave me that feeling when I had a lot of concentrated playing of it, you know, with different people and stuff. And it was just, you know, it was a lot of fun. The reason I came up with this as a suggestion for a topic is the person that I play the Marvel game with and I right now are just really loving the Marvel game, and the painting and the gaming are both kind of meshing, like, you know, in that, you know, there's this desire to paint a new figure to get put in the team next week, and it's a lot of fun. But both like I don't know if you can still hear me. My internet connection starting to show that it's getting problematic.
You came back.
Okay, good. One of the things that I noticed is that let's see, the internet connection thing broke my train of thought. I found that the Marvel game, we were feeling like this is something we could play for a while. Like we're not losing enthusiasm. Like we're only gaining enthusiasm with each game. And like there's like all these things that are coming out, like characters and all these different ways to play, and then all this stuff that we need to paint, and there's that excitement that, and I thought to myself, like, this feels like those days, like, you know what I mean, like this, if that makes sense. And even though, like, I actually play the Star Wars Armada and I really enjoy that one too, and one of the reasons why I don't think I'll ever play just one game is that I still want to be like able to play like spaceship battles, and I still want to be able to play like a historical game at times. And so I'm not saying that I'm advocating to just give up everything but one game, like, but that idea that I could play just this, like the fact that I'm playing this and I'm thinking I have no desire to play anything else right now. Like both of us are like, what are we gonna do for the next game? Like, you know, and we're just really enjoying it. Like I haven't had that feeling in a long time. And so, and then it made me reflect on, you know, what it's all about, you know, like just hobbying and this whole hobby, and like just getting back to the roots of getting together and just having that one thing you're both focused on and enjoying, and not even worrying about, like, I'm not worrying about like new stuff coming out or whatever. And I've not really done that much anyway. Everybody knows I'm into the core game concept and having my few games. But yeah, it's nice to be in that space where you're just kind of really only just thinking about that one thing sometimes.
Yeah, that's the as I brought up a little while ago, was that, you know, at one time, you know, we had Hordes, and War Machine was just a huge game in our store. It's like you could go on a Wednesday night and there was 50 people wanting to play. You're waiting for a table. And that was a massive social contract. You got when you got that many people wanting to play, you're never without it. It's like you go and say, hey, I'm going to be here on Sunday. Okay, we'll be there Sunday. Mm-hmm. You got individuals that you just, and passing, kind of know that they're playing the same game. It's like, we'll be there. We'll play. Let's go. Mm-hmm. And when you got that many people, and then suddenly now it's like you have nobody doing the same thing. Right now, it's like we do have a Battletech group that's starting to grow in our store, which mm-hmm. from the Kickstarter hit, and now we got individuals that are starting to want to play the game because they got into the Kickstarter, or people they knew got into the Kickstarter, and our store is starting to stock this stuff, which kind of helps. And so now if I didn't have I suppose I should go over on a Monday night. So that's when they play, is start going over on Mondays and actually, you know, spend a night getting with some other people too, and drag some of my current group in with us too.
Yeah.
And that is something that kind of feeds it. You know, it's like when you got that many people, you're feeding the social contract. Mm-hmm. And then it also, like I said, it feeds the other aspect of your hobby, because then you're motivated to work on stuff. So if you don't have the motivation.
This is my friend Dan that I play Marvel with. Yeah, I don't think he's ever said anything on the show yet. Palmer's blackmailing me to paint Marvel Protocol with all effort he puts on the table. Yeah, Dan's a big gamer, and he paints too, for sure. But there are times when, he struggles for the motivation to paint, and I've been putting the screw to him. Like, let's both paint one miniature at least a week. Like, we're gonna expand our teams by at least one miniature a week. And with a skirmish game, you can get pretty far that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so he's been putting the time in.
Now that's the one nice thing is that when you got somebody that's also motivated with you to get involved in it, that helps.
Yep. No, absolutely. And that's part of the overall feeling is it's like those days when you had friends that were interested like you in the one game, and like you were looking out over the across of months of like, we're going to play these games, like this game, like we're and when you look at it that way, it just has that feeling of when like you used to always drag like your Space Marine army down or whatever it was, like, during the Warhammer 40K days and things like that. Very Silent Mouse says that he likes Crisis Protocol. I think it's a great game. I mean, I've obviously plugged it a lot. It's done really well. I mean, like, in all honesty, from the perspective of people picking it up, it's done well. But I would say that it's deservingly so. Like, it's actually been a lot of fun.
And then you have, I say, I'm happy the show is back. The excuse to listen and paint stuff. There you go.
Absolutely.
Never hurts to sit down and paint stuff.
Yep.
Get a dedicated amount of, you get a dedicated amount of time of individuals. It's like everybody is like, I'm going to give a little bit of my time. You're getting your time, and we're doing it. And you can sit around and BS. We were supposed to have a Battletech game this Saturday, go across the state, and then they changed it on me. Now it's next week, but I'm going to try to organize a game for Sunday, but we'll see how that works. Doesn't take much to twist people's arm to want to play. That's the other thing.
That's always good. And I mean, Battletech has just had such a. I guess it's probably about time.
Yeah.
Battletech has had such a resurgence over the last few years, don't you think?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
People weren't talking about it to the level they are right now, like a few years ago, among the general group of gamers. Like, I know that there was always Battletech players.
We had our core that was always everywhere, but they sort of, in the 90s, it was really popular into the early 2000s, and then it sort of just kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
It was like garage, kind of like a garage band.
Yeah. Everybody
got together. It was still being played. It was still popular, but you weren't seeing it in the store being played.
Yeah. Axanic says, if you're painting one, you might as well paint 5 to 10. At least that's how it usually works for me. I do think assembly line painting and like getting more on the table can be a motivator and more productive at times. I find superheroes, because every character can be like so different at times and require different paints and things, for me can be a little harder. However, I used to do, like you say, like 4 maybe, just to have a bit more on the table at a time. I'm not sure when you came in on the show, but like I kind of spilled my guts about how I've just been totally not painting and not even into it for the longest time. And so for me, even being able to just focus on one miniature, like, and just that's kind of unique, and just to paint them up a week when I'm not in the painting groove has been a challenge and something to aspire to. But I'm hoping that that's going to change.
Well, if you're going to paint something, paint it well.
And I'm not saying I'm doing Golden Demon stuff here, but I have been trying to. I'm doing comic style, but I have been trying to do something I'd be happy with to play and have even in my cabinet. Like there's very few things that I paint that I wouldn't be happy to have in my cabinet, like on display. But they're not Golden Demon, whatever you want to call it these days.
Well, Crisis Protocol. That's one game that I could see myself. I've looked into it. It's like motivated me many times to look into it. And I just keep looking. It's like, I'm a very big Marvel guy. and it's like I watch all the shows, I watch the movies. It's like this last weekend, on Sunday we went and watched the Eternals.
Mm-hmm.
Seen that in the theater, and it's like,
did you like it?
Oh yeah, I liked it.
Cool. Okay, I wasn't totally keen at first, but I'll have to look at it. I want to see Venom too.
Venom isn't bad. I don't think it's good as the first one.
Okay.
The writing was off a little bit on that one. Plus, the movie just seemed to it's over. Okay, it's like it ended so quickly.
I thought you were talking about our show for a second. I'm like, what? What do you mean?
Yeah. The Eternals I think it was like a 3-hour movie. It's like,
oh, is that right?
Yeah, it was like, then we came out, went in to a 3 o'clock showing, and then came out. It was 6 o'clock, and I was like, oh, didn't realize this movie was this long. It didn't seem that long. There was some slow parts in it, but it was an origin story, just kind of telling the story. So they already said there's another Eternals 2 going to be coming out, and they set it up with the 2 trailers at the end. In case you watch it, there's 2.
So like Easter egg kind of things, and
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, typical Marvel fashion.
Yep. Say, what did
gotta? So I didn't get much pain in the summer. It was brutal. Well, we hear you. If you heard the beginning of our show,
pain.
We talked about it quite a bit. You'll see when it streams up. First Venom was a bit trash for me, but I liked it more as it played. I kind of enjoyed it. I mean, one of the things is I never really read a lot of the comics when Venom was in it, and I was really just getting out of reading comic books when I was younger, when Venom was just hitting the Spider-Man kind of storyline. So a lot of folks that actually know the original story and I think have a different opinion, like on the movies and some of the liberties they took. But for me, just as a sort of movie itself, just that alone, and then just some of the humor and stuff, I actually enjoyed it. And my daughter enjoyed it quite a bit too. And so, yeah, I don't know.
The humor was better in the first movie than it was in the second one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there was humor in the second one. It just wasn't as that same level, I think.
Okay.
And then like I said, it's like, I think the movie's only like not even an hour and a half long.
So it's pretty short.
Yeah, it's just short. It's like they said, oh, we got to put this movie out, and okay, well, let's kind of film some of it and throw it together. It's like it's not even long enough for a director's cut. So
I know you and I were both talking about it, but we both really enjoyed Dune. Huh? I mean, that
yeah,
I really liked it.
I've watched it only 5 times now, so
I've only watched it once, but I really liked it. And considering how long it was, almost everyone that I talked to felt like they wanted more, like they weren't ready for it to be over. Like it was good.
No, I know. I have gone through, and the reason I watched it 5 times, I keep watching and looking for Easter eggs and little things hidden in it that you can see and pick out throughout the movies. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to watch it the next time with the subtitles on. Because there's a lot of stuff that are being said. My son watched it with subtitles, and he said, there's stuff being said that you don't know that are being said.
So like when people are speaking in Harkonian, you're actually, they put the English down?
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's like, I didn't realize, it's like they're saying stuff, but you're not understanding what's being said. And it's like, my son is like, he watched it with the subtitles, and he's like, Dad, you got to watch it with subtitles. It makes it a lot, they're saying stuff. I was like, oh, I know they're saying stuff, but I'm not sure what the heck they're saying. So now I got to watch it.
That's wild. I didn't realize they would do that, because you would think if it wasn't like a real language in real life, like, that they would just put the subtitle in. You know what I mean? Like, rather than make you turn on the DVD subtitle or whatever it is, in order to do that.
So yeah, that's one thing I got to do. It's like, it's going off on the 21st. I think we can't watch it again until it comes out on DVD. So or Blu-ray, one of the two. So I'm going to watch it one more time. Probably tomorrow night I'm going to watch it again, because tonight is the Lunar Eclipse. just tonight. It starts at midnight, so as soon as we get off here, I'm going to get all my gear out, take my telescope out, and I'll be outside taking pictures.
Yeah, I was up at our place with my telescope, and I brought it up there, and then it was all cloudy skies. It was not good. So I actually left it up there just for the next time I'm up there, just in better viewing area, but just hopefully not cloudy skies. And so,
well, at least with a lunar eclipse, you can use a pair of binoculars that are mic one eyeball, and you're good to go.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I want to take some pictures of it, so
nice.
I always try to add to my portfolio.
Yes. Well, is reaching back to the topic, we kind of have moved on a little bit from it, but I would just say as far as the one game thing, like, there probably will be times in my life that I will play one game again. You know what I mean? Like just playing one game for a period of time. And I think for the kind of reasons we described, I don't think I'll ever just play one game and never play another one again. But it's just, but I think that sometimes, that for some of us, not everybody's the same, but some of us, it looks like XNX is leaving. David, got a jet. Have a good evening. Thank you for coming by. Appreciate it. Basically, I think that some of us, find value in that, like get inspired and that momentum with both people and friends and the continuity of getting immersed in a game that it almost feels like you're playing just one game for a while, can be some of the best times in hobbying, I think, for wargaming, in my experience.
We kind of, we played Gaslands for over a year. We started playing last June, a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we played a lot of it up till probably July, I think it was. And then suddenly it just quit playing. I don't know. It's like the group decided to go play something else. It's interesting how that works. Before that, we were playing Dystopian Wars, just like nonstop, and all of a sudden one individual decides in a group they don't want to play it anymore. So it's like that's one of the problems. If you get one individual if you got a core group and one individual no longer wants to play that game, then that game basically dies.
Yeah, if it's a real tight group and there's not that many of you, like 4 people, 25% not wanting to play when you have 4 people is a huge deal. Now you don't have 2 games going on side by side, or you don't have a fair distribution.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah, that can be a problem too. Is like when individuals decide that they no longer play a game. I'm willing to, try certain games out. Like I said before, it's like the reason I have so many rule books is like I'm willing to try something at least a couple times, and sometimes it's like I'll play something and it's like it's just not me. I don't care for it, and then maybe one person out of the group say this is the next best thing since sliced bread, and then like, okay, but I just don't care. Sorry. Or they're the same way. It's like 75% of the group says, "Man, this is great. We all love it," and then one person goes, "Nah, I'm not going to play that." So it can be a problem.
And go ahead.
It's like it's not very often when you get everybody's in sync and wants to play the same game constantly.
But
when it happens, it's nice.
That's one of the. You'd think that having like more availability of gaming like would never be a bad thing, but there is an argument that sometimes having too much available is one of the reasons for that.
Yeah,
like it's just the distraction, right? Like you can't get anybody on the same page because there's just too many pages out there.
The grass is always greener around that fence or that fence or that fence.
Yeah,
everybody wants to go graze over there, and they get on the other side of the fence and go, "Oh, this sucks." No wonder the grass is green. This is a sewer.
Yeah.
So,
one of the only ways to potentially combat that is to actually just have like a league where like if there's enough people locally interested in a game, they're not necessarily a core group, but they're just people that all want to play that game. Well, then you can form a group that's like based around playing that game, and then there's really no excuses. Like if somebody says, "No, I don't want to play that game," well, yes, guess what? You're in the wrong place then. But I don't know of any other way. Like you even mentioned, like with Battletech, you could potentially do that because, like you said, there's a local group, that are doing it. Like you could not only your friends, but other people that are just getting into it. And if you actually called it, this is like Battletech Sunday, down at the store or whatever, then nobody's going to try to turn it into like Malifaux Sunday when it's clearly Battletech Sunday. The group of people getting together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's like we're all showing up with our mechs and they show up with their Malifaux. Let's play Malifaux. Well, go ahead. Go over there and play with yourself. We're going to be over. We're throwing dice over here. So enjoy your day.
Yeah.
It's like Malifaux was a good game, but it just,
I just kind of pulled that one out of a hat, but.
Yeah. But yeah, it's one of those that's interesting is that how things progress. It's like how I played Malifaux for a while, and then everybody just suddenly goes, don't want to play anymore, and it just dies. And or else the great one is like everybody's playing a game and loves it, and all of a sudden the company changes the game, and no one likes the game anymore, and then they quit playing, and then the game dies.
Yeah, that happens too.
That's what happened to War Machine. It's like when you had everybody and their mother was out there. It's like, hey, it's Wednesday night. Let's go. It's Wednesday night. Play. And then now it's like everybody played for about a month, and it's like, this sucks. I don't like the way this sucks either. It's like, then it just died.
Yeah.
And pretty soon you watch the stuff disappear off the shelves. Then it's in the bargain bin, and it's not selling out of the bargain bin. That's bad. When you got a big, massive box of the bargain bin, stuff is like you could buy a $50 box for $5, and it's just sitting there for months on end. You have a problem.
Absolutely. Well, I think we've done pretty good for our first show. We've kind of eased into it. I think I don't know about you, but I think we're maybe a little lower energy just creeping into the season, but it was still a great chat with lots of familiar friends joining us on the show, and actually had a couple new folks, I think, joining us tonight.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, absolutely. So lots of fun. Brad says War Machine died here, and that would be the same city, Calgary. And so we are going to be easing our way. This is a slow grow of the season and our painting, and we're going to be back. And I'm guessing in a couple weeks, Rusty, or is it going to be with Thanksgiving? Is that when it's
next? Thanksgiving is next Thursday.
So then it would be still the one after that would be over on your channel then, I think we'd be doing?
Yeah. So we're looking at the 14, so the 32nd, right?
32nd. Exactly.
We're going into December, so it'll be December, I guess, when we'll be back.
Awesome. Well, it's good. It's good to be back. I'm going to have to actually give my internet company a call, but it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
To get it through.
You're typically doing what I usually had a problem with, so, but it was never on the scale of what I always had a problem with. So it's like there was a reason why I was phoning in my show from orbit.
It is freezing. I remember that.
It's like, how's your internet? Well, it works 75% of the time, except for when I need it.
Exactly. All right. Well, I suppose with that, we should probably call it a night. Thanks, everyone, for joining us.
Yeah, so our first show back in 6 months. It's good to be back.
That's right.
It feels good.
It is good. It does feel good, actually. Yeah, I could go on another tangent, but I'm not going to.
We're out of tangent. We're into the sines now. We're out of tangent cosine.
That's right. That's right. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you on the next show, hopefully. Thanks for everybody's comments and participation as usual.
All right. We'll see you in a couple. All right.
Take
Later,
care,
everybody.